Hi, for those that don't know me, I'm Virginia Walton, and I'm an executive burnout coach, helping women reduce their stress, avoid burnout, and prioritize things so they can keep climbing the corporate ladder without sacrificing themselves. Prior to starting my coaching practice, I spent 24 years in the banking and finance industry, where I worked from teller at a small community bank to senior vice president of a $27 billion bank by the age of 38. I'd love to tell you it was easy and I did everything right. I didn't. I worked harder, not smarter, and I nearly burnt out along the way. So my goal now is to help other women have the same or greater, preferably greater success without the level of exhaustion that I experienced. And you can. You really can. So today, I wanted to talk about what kind of example are you setting? And I'm pretty sure as a kid, maybe you heard this too, if we're of the same generation, do as I say, not as I do. Which basically meant you do what your parents said. Don't forget about what they're doing. It was usually, no, you're not having ice cream or whatever, right? I don't even remember what it was I was getting told to do, but I remember the expression. Sadly, I carried that expression into my corporate career. I was killing myself. I was working ridiculous hours, and I knew it wasn't sustainable. But I didn't want my team doing that. I knew it wasn't healthy. And so I would tell them that. Like, I don't expect you guys to work the way I do. Like, don't work the way I do, right? But the reality is, we learn by example way more than we do by words, right? We've probably all had experience with a corporate culture where, the tone at the top is, take your time, be balanced in life. And maybe you experience that, as a more junior associate. I know when I talk to clients, they're like, oh yeah, that's totally, part of our values, but that doesn't apply to me, right? Especially as you've worked up, you're the only one in your role. You're not one of 10 analysts or, 15 people in a call center. You're the only one managing that function, right? There's some stuff you can delegate, but it falls. And so you've got the pressure from both ways. Kind of like at home, we have the pressure of our young children and that we need to care for and help them become strong, successful, adults. And then our aging parents, right? So you're kind of, I think the sandwich generation was the term. You have that at work, right? You need to grow and nurture and care for your team, but you've got the pressure of your superiors and the board and everything on you. So you may find yourself in that do as I say, not as I do, because you're trying to meet the demands up here, but that's not the way to do things. You do know it, right? So I would often hear clients say, yeah, we tell our teams all the time, but we don't get that benefit. We don't get to do that. Well, let's think about this. Yeah, you might not be the CEO, but you're the head of a function. You're on the executive team. You do get to influence, not just down. You influence across and hopefully you can influence up, right? But if you're constantly not rocking the boat and you're falling into that habit, I did it. I get it. It is hard to be the one to be different from the pack, especially if maybe you are different from the pack. I was the only female senior vice president in my office, and I was notably younger than my male peers. So it was hard. And I think sometimes I let that little insecurity in myself keep me from doing what was right. So if you feel that way sometimes, or as you hear me say that, you're like, oh, shit, I do that. Be the voice, right? You earned your seat at the table. Use it. Use it for the betterment. Because here's the irony. As we are killing ourselves, literally, I used to sit at my desk fearful that somebody'd walk in the next morning and say, why is Virginia in the same clothes she was wearing yesterday? Because we didn't have offices. We had an open concept executive area. Because I dropped dead. Yeah. Because 8 o'clock at night, I was still in the office and then had an hour commute home. And I'd get back on my computer, right? That's not sustainable. Not only is it not good for your own health, right? Which you only get one you. You can't do it. If you do serious damage, you can't undo it, right? So, and at the end of the day, a company will put another person in your chair. There was somebody in the chair before you got there. There'll be somebody in the chair after you. But you only get one you. So remember that. That should be in your prioritization thought process. There's only one you. And you only have so much time. You do not get more time in life. It's a finite resource. You can make more money. You can't make more time, right? We joke, oh, we got time back because the meeting ended early. It really didn't. But, sounds good. Here's the irony, though. Your productivity and quality of work go down if you don't rest and recharge. Let me say that again. Taking a break, stepping away from your desk, whether it's at lunchtime, the end of the day, the weekend, a vacation where you disconnect, it all improves the quality that you produce. When you're running on empty, you don't run really well, right? Come on, we've all been in the car where we forgot to get gas. And you're like, ugh, you can feel it. You're like, what? Like, it's below E. And you're like, this is not performing well. You're just hoping you can kind of put into the gas station before they close, right? Same concept, right? When you've got no battery in your phone, how well does it work, right? When you're down to 10%? No, it starts flashing warnings at you. Same thing. Our devices in this case are smarter than us. So, stop. Take a break. Don't just encourage your team. Set the example. I've said this before. If your company has a wellness program that promotes lunchtime meditation or lunchtime yoga or something, go to it. Not just for yourself, but you're setting the example for your team that that's a priority. I want you guys to take a break because I want good quality work from you. I want you to get outside for lunch. I want you to walk away from your desk. I don't want to hear from you for the weekend because I want the best quality work. If they're working 24/7, it's not the best. Neither is yours. Think about that in terms of your bottom line. If you make the difference and your team is taking breaks, they're refreshing, they're disconnecting, and you're producing better quality work in a less amount of time, you're setting the example for your peers. That's real money, real results. It's a new year. Set a new tone. You don't have to pound your chest or beat the table. Do it by your example. Let the people at the top see it. Show that you're doing better quality work. And if you're like, I just don't have enough time, then we need to talk. Because you do. Because you're being counterproductive. So we talked about you setting the tone for your team, right? Because you can tell them all you want. Don't work like I do. They're still going to be like, well, that's what they're doing and I want to get there, so I'm going to do it. Your actions speak louder than your words. You've taught your children this, I'm sure. It still applies at work. It applies for your team. It applies for your peers. And if you're making the change and you're setting the example, it'll get noticed. What happens when you get noticed as a change maker? Right. You move up. You get a better seat at the table. We also said that we talk about if you're prioritizing within your values. Yesterday I had the opportunity to go to my goddaughter's Christmas prayer service at her school, Catholic school. And I saw the mom rushing in, ready for work. And as soon as it ended, rushing through the crowd to find her child. So they knew they were there. And then out the door. Yes, she was there. Was she really present? I think I saw a couple, oh, the kids are moving around up front. All right, let me check my email. Are you really present? Now, maybe the first graders up front didn't see that dad in the back because it was crowded. But what about it? Your kid's performance, their games, right? When the whistle blows for a foul or something, are you immediately checking? Do you get your earbuds and you're taking the conference call from the sideline, but you're on mute so you can watch the game and listen? Well, you're not really paying attention either. And if your kid sees that, that's what they're going to think is a good behavior. So when they're the parent, they're going to perpetuate that. They're not really going to be completely present for their kid. Or as they get older and they realize that you're not really there, what's that going to do to your relationship with your child in the long run? Because again, they'll be your child way longer than you'll be in the role you're at your job. There was a wonderful song written by Harry Chapman in 1974 called Cat's Cradle. If you have not heard this, Google the lyrics. The gist of the story in the song is it's about a busy dad. You know, son gets a new ball. Dad, let's go play catch. No, I'm busy, son. We'll do it later. And he keeps kind of pushing his child off. Later. You know, and the son's looking, I'm going to be just like my dad. Now, granted, in 1974, not as many women were working, but so that may be the big change here, but you see the point. His dad is setting an example for his son, who's a young child. And he sees this is what a good dad does. He works hard. He doesn't have time to play with me, right? But he works hard. You fast forward, the son is now a father with a career and family. And the father is retired. He reaches out to his son, hey, can we get together? I miss you. I'd like to see you. Sorry, Dad, I'm busy. You know, work, kids, family, house, blah, blah, blah. And I hang up the phone. And the father realizes his son had done what he said. He said he was going to be just like his dad. And he was. And now in this latter stage of life, the father doesn't have his son because of the example he set. Right? So I'm sure if someone asks you what are your priorities, your family, your children, they're going to be near the top. They're going to be top. Right? And you probably work hard and you will justify those long hours because I'm doing this for my family. You know, if I get that big bonus, that's going to put a big chunk into their college fund, or we're going to go on this great vacation, or we can live in the house with this better school district. So I'm doing this all for my family, my kids. But are they getting to experience you? They're getting things, but are they getting you? They are your priority. You are probably their priority too. So if they're experiencing like that little boy did in that song, are you really living your priority? Again, you only get so much time. At the end, our kids need us more than they need basic things. Absolutely. We need to work. They need food, shelter, education, clothing. Yes. Kids aren't cheap. But do they need a $400 bat? Or do they need an hour with their parent, with their mom, undivided? You know the answer. I don't know your kids, and there was not one right answer. But as you start thinking about how you're prioritizing, how you're spending your time, don't just think about what's on your calendar and what deliverable due dates you have. What example are you setting for everyone who's watching you? Because your actions speak way louder than your words. That's what will be remembered, and that's what will be modeled. So if you're like, you're right, I need to change. I'm not modeling the example I want for my team, my organization, my family. Now's the time to change, right? We're all thinking about change as the new year approaches. So let's get on it. If you're like, I don't know how, I'm here to help. Let me help you. Trust me, I've been there. I know there's a better way. You just kind of got to change how you think about things. Little changes will get you there. Let me help you. That's the first step, saying, I'm ready for change and being ready to accept some help. So let's connect, right? Drop me a comment. Sorry, brain cramp there. How do you get a hold of Virginia? My website's virginiawalton.com. You can connect to me there. Drop me a comment here, on Facebook, LinkedIn, message me. I'm here for you. I'm balancing my family time this week too, but don't worry, I'm here for you too, because you are a priority to me. So if you've already mastered this and you're setting great examples, consider sharing this, because maybe somebody else needs to hear this so they can start the new year off right. With that, be well, and I'll see you soon.